All right, so let's take a look at two forecasts. I have here the Old Farmer's Almanac. Old Farmer's Almanac. Yeah, it's fall. All right. The Old Farmer's Almanac winter weather forecast prediction. Ohio, West Virginia, parts of Virginia, North Carolina, wintry. Interesting. Snowy, icy, icky. Okay. Parts of Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska. Western Kansas, Nebraska, and eastern Colorado, Wyoming, and New Mexico are looking at more wet than white. Really? Low temps, deep powder here in the mountains of Utah, Nevada. Showery across Arizona. Dry and chilly in California. Wet or worse in the Northwest. And a parade of snowstorms in the northern plain states. Okay? Now, let's take a look at the Farmer's Almanac. No, not the Old Farmer's, the Farmer's Almanac. There's two out there. So, a little bit different story, in my opinion. Dry and chilly is what the Old Farmer's Almanac is saying for California, but this Farmer's Almanac is saying cool, normal precipitation. So, cooler temperatures, but normal precip, opposed to dry. Frozen, snowy, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, yes, even parts of Tennessee are in that mix. West Virginia, okay. Frosty, wet, and white for the Virginia, Carolinas as well. North Carolina mainly, not South Carolina. You go up to the Northeast and it's cold and wetry mix. Now, looking at Old Farmer's Almanac, it is wet and wild. And reading this forecast here, they are actually talking about up here in the Northeast that we will see a warmer winter here in the Northeast. For some parts of the country, frigid and frosty conditions will last well into spring, bringing little relief to the wintry weather. This could feel like the never-ending winter, particularly in the Midwest and east of the Ohio Valley, Appalachians, where wintry weather will last into March and even in the first days of spring, reports Sullivan. Now, it also says a searing summer will bring scorching temperatures to the high plains, sizzle and drizzle from the middle of the country eastward, wicked hot weather to the Northeast. That's right, folks. Direct forecast. They have their forecast. I think, honestly, this one is my opinion. It could be the one that's right. This also matches what the Farmer's Almanac here is also saying. So we have one saying that we were going to see wet and cold. And we have another one saying that it's just going to be a lot of cold and snow. The direct weather forecast wants to say that clippers, Arctic blast, winter battle zones all the way into the south, coastal storms, meaning snowstorms and ice, and then, of course, the worst of winter running through parts of Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and Maine. Average lake effect for the western parts of New York, the Erie, PA, Cleveland, Ohio, parts of Michigan as well. So this forecast to me is showing us a more colder winter and snow. The Old Farmer's Almanac is hinting at a very wet winter, but wintry conditions mainly in Ohio, West Virginia, and the northern plains. To me, this is very vague. It's just unfortunate that we have two different results. Now, the Farmer's Almanac since 1818, which also I believe last year predicted a colder winter, they're calling this the polar coaster winter ahead. Polar coaster, meaning polar vortexes. We're going to see ups and downs, which could mean we could see things like, sub-below temperatures in Buffalo and then 60 degrees in January, causing ice jam floods, and then getting really cold again by the end of the month and staying cold through the spring. Now, the one thing that was in this outlook here was that they were predicting winter type weather well into April for the Northeast and parts of the Midwest. So any way you look at it, folks, I think from Direct Weather and Farmer's Almanac, they're predicting a colder and snowier and icier winter for the bulk of the country. The old Farmer's Almanac is saying the opposite. I think they're downplaying. I think they think the temperatures are going to be a little above average. They're favoring the NOAA outlook, where NOAA says, hey, look, we're saying it's just going to be an overall warmer winter and dry in most places. I don't think so, honestly. So, all right, Tropical Storm Dorian to strike. Really, all this is to raise awareness. This thing is projected to strengthen. Go ahead and turn her off. We'll show the video what they think their visual is right now on this particular storm. There you see the tropical storm warning there for St. Lucia, Guadalupe, and this storm is now getting its act together and moving towards what looks like San Juan and possibly entering the Florida Keys at some point by, what is their timeline? Late this week. So by Saturday, we could have a storm that is approaching the Florida. And at that point, there's no indication that this cone is going to go shift to the east or west. Right now, it is just taking a direct aim at Florida. But we'll leave the link here for the exact details. Right now, its current stats, winds are at 60 miles per hour with a pressure of 1,007, moving northwest at 14 miles per hour. So we are not looking at a Category 1. This is Tropical Storm Dorian, and we will continue to monitor that. Let's go to windy real quick here. Mari's got some hurricane tracker stuff up. Again, showing what we're looking at. No indication yet that we are dealing with any kind of hurricane at this point. Take a look at our national weather radar at this point. We get caught up, put up to speed here. All right. So Mari reported some microburst storms that were in Georgia. And tonight we are still dealing with thunderstorms and showers across the south. And once again, Georgia, Atlanta, south of Jacksonville, Florida, Oklahoma City, all the way through Missouri, reaching up into Wisconsin and Michigan. Let's put this bad boy in motion. Right now, mainly dry in the northeast. Rain showers in eastern Ohio, moving to the northeast. Pretty dry in the central plains. Some spotty showers across Fargo and St. Paul, Minnesota. But pretty dry out there, guys, for the most part, for the United States right now. Go take a look up here in Alaska, see what kind of action we have up here, and with what limited satellite we have available, it doesn't look like we are too wet at the moment, as we are kind of lagging here, and forgive us for being behind. There's a Hawaii, hello, Honolulu. Again, this radar is not picking up. We'll try to get a different look at this here in a little bit. Let's go over to GFS real quick, all right? Start here on Tuesday, August 27th. This is tomorrow. Low pressure system off to the coast. Again, high pressure systems are trying to dominate our weather as we move through Wednesday. Showers and thunderstorms coming across the east through the northeast. The south gets chances of rain again Wednesday and Thursday. And then high pressure settles in the Midwest and keeps everyone dry in the south and the northeast around Ohio. Up in the northern part of the Great Lakes, we'll see a chance of showers and a light chance of showers as well. Then by Friday, late this week, we do see a chance for heavier, possibly severe weather developing in central Kansas and southern Nebraska as we continue to monitor this moisture that's coming in to the Gulf from our tropical storm Dorian. And by Saturday, GFS does not indicate that we are going to be dealing with a full-blown hurricane at that point. But what's interesting is that there is a low pressure system here. And it kind of has it stalled out for a minute. I'm just going to leave this arrow there. I'm going to back up a little bit. And watch this. This is that low pressure, I believe. We're going to see it somewhere down here by Saturday. All right. The GFS has got a low pressure system that kind of hangs out here at the Gulf. Put this in motion again. And there it is, kind of hanging out there. Monday, September 2nd. Finally takes off into land by the 3rd, but lots of moisture with this particular system. And the reason why I'm keeping the arrow there is that area right there is going to continue to see rain all the way through Thursday. And again, the GFS at this point is not showing a hurricane directly. Wow. Some wet times ahead here is September 8th. That's a Sunday, folks. The NFL kicks off its season for the most part on Sunday, and also my son's first game is that morning, and it looks like a soaker. This is Saturday night going into Sunday morning, and look at all of that yellow and red and orange showing up on the radar in New York and parts of Canada. This will move through quickly on Sunday. By late day and early evening, we will be dry. Back into this will bring some scattered showers, and high pressure just settles in across the United States, making the weather just gorgeous. Dry and cool, I might add. Well, let's see how cool some areas will be. And here we go. I mean, we're watching this storm. Do worst case scenario here. Let's go to 0. I want to see an image that shows me we got a hurricane on the way. And we're not seeing it. I'll have to check wind shear and everything like that. I did not get a chance to look at that before tonight's show. Seeing snowstorms. Wow. Just north of Maine into Canada. So let's take a look at those temperatures then. Because that's a worth a look, right? Thermodynamics. Let's go back here. Here we go. So looking at our high temperatures, and I'll move the handy dandy arrow out the screen. But interesting to note too, guys. I'm gonna move this over here just a couple. Daytime highs on August 24th. Notice how we have the majority of this heat. Jeez. Down here, look at this. 60s, 70s across the United States, Midwest. This area right here, 68 degrees, that is not good. 74 degrees, that is not good. These are the areas where we need all the heat we can get. Remember, we're 3 to 4 weeks behind on these crops. If we're looking at nighttime lows in the 60s and 50s, surely that's going to stunt the growth. August 25th, the majority of the country is dominated by upper 70s, mid 70s, and upper 60s. Even in the deep south, you guys are looking at a wonderful break. Texas, Lubbock, it's still going to be hot. Phoenix, still going to be hot. Parts of the south, look at that. 77 degrees in Mississippi. 72 in parts of Alabama. 76 in Georgia. Atlanta, August 27th. High temperatures, look at this. 61 in upstate New York. 57 near Bangor. 66 in Cleveland. I get it. It's August 27th, right? It's almost fall. Not really. So the forecast that we saw with the below normal temperatures here in the Midwest, the central part of our country, right here, still concerns me. Let's focus on this area here as we go through the next few days of August into early September. Again, temperatures in the mid 70s. Look at this. Is this right? Saturday, August 31st, high temperatures. Good grief. Overnight lows in the 50s and 40s in some parts. Warms back up a little bit on September 1st. Not really a lot. 80 degrees ain't nothing to complain about, though. We'll take it. A hot streak right here in the western part of Kansas and Nebraska. But for the most part, the state will be in the low 80s. September 3rd, heat buildup is now dropping further south. And look at the cooler air down there in the southern part of the states in Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia. That's because they're going to have lots of rain in that region from that tropical depression. That's probably what it will be at that point, by the way. Indicating that we will have cooler temperatures across the northern plains, the northeast, the northwest. These are daytime highs right here. Again, not bad, pretty gorgeous weather. And then we see a cold front moving in on September 5th. Right now it's going across central Ohio, Pennsylvania, upstate New York. You guys can see it right here, actually. Back in this area right here. September 6th, that temperature, that heat keeps getting pushed further and further south. Look at this. By the 7th, I mean, it is definitely fall for the most part in these parts, for sure. 50s and 60s on a regular, 40s now showing up on a regular basis. September 8th, the heat is almost completely gone in the south. Thank you for that down in the south, because folks in the south, especially in Texas, have been baking this summer, so they appreciate this. And look at that cooler air coming behind all that rain that we're going to see on September 8th. Look at this. Widespread 40s across the Midwest and Northeast. Again, this is near the second week of September, so this is where temperatures start to fall. So my point I'm trying to make is NOAA's already off to a bad start when GFS, which typically trends warmer temperatures, is showing us that we're going to be at or below average for this time of year to start off September and going into the 11th of September. So interesting stuff coming up, guys. We'll definitely be monitoring all of this here at the Grand Solar Minimum Channel. Mara, would you like to stop over and say hello to the folks in the chat on the microphone?
Hello to people on the chat on the microphone, Jake. Let me go through and give some shout outs, right? I do want to thank Matthew for his super chat. He actually made a funny comment. You gotta laugh. He put, "Can we nuke the next storm over Nebraska? I'm willing to take the chance."
Listen, so there's a report out there about how Trump, I'm sure it was jokingly, telling people he wanted to put a nuke into a storm, and it's been completely blown out of context. Now actualweather.com says the president said he's going to drop a bomb in the storm.
You sound like Mr. Garrison when you say that.
This is Mr. Garrison.
And then Matt, he's on a roll. He's like, "Did Jake say bacon or baking?"
Well, it just depends.
It's bacon.
It's
of
bacon.
Course.
They're bacon in Texas. They are bacon. Okay, I'm Southern Ohio, so leave me alone, Matt.
Boy. Just makes me laugh. SoulQuest 216. See, got to do the noise, Jake. You know what the comment is with the super chat?
What?
GSM has the best hoodies. They're soft and warm. 5 out of 5 stars.
I want one. Actually, that's on my Christmas list.
I've been meaning to get you one for the longest time, and I haven't. I'll have to do that, Jake. You know who popped in the chat briefly?
Who?
The kid meteorologist.
Well, hello there, son.
My favorite kid meteorologist on YouTube. It's good seeing you. He says he has some footage of Dorian on his channel.
He's very, very enthusiastic about winter,
passionate about weather.
And I can't wait to watch this kid grow into what he's going to be doing in the future.
I just love his passion and enthusiasm to his reporting. He's great. I was explaining to people in the chat how sometimes I get sad that my friends and family don't pay attention to our information. I actually was driving in the car with my brother the other day, and I asked him if he saw our show, and he said he's never watched it, not once. And I told people in the chat, we've been doing this for 3 years, so it's like, some people, Tammy actually put, "I agree. Too hard for people to grasp the truth. They ignore the truth and hoping everything will be okay." I think a lot of people acknowledge that we are in a changing climate. I think anything outside that is overwhelming for people because there's a lot of data and a lot of information to go through. And I don't think really we live in times where people are patient enough to sift through the data and try to grasp it and understand it. We're in the days of instant gratification and understanding, and unfortunately this topic is not that. You can't just dive into it and understand it immediately. It takes time to absorb the information, and that's why we repeat ourselves a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and it does take time for people to grasp it. We understand that, and we consider ourselves a learning channel, and that's why we have these live chats to talk to people in the chat and share information. So but it's upsetting. Friends and family still just
oh yeah.
Let's see what else. Matt Bros also asked if we're gonna see more bomb cyclones next spring. What do you think, Jake?
Well, it really depends on the situation in the Greenland blocking, how that turns up this winter. We've seen a lot of high pressure already developing near Greenland, and a lot of the times when you have the Greenland block going on and we have these nor'easters heading up the coast, that's part of the reason why those storms are able to hug the coast the way they do, because of the way the jet stream reacts when we have these Greenland blocks. So really, it just depends on if the conditions form for that. I wish that was something we could forecast. I know Judah Cohen does a really good job at monitoring the Greenland blocks and all the jet streams. So if you are not following him on Twitter, I advise you to follow him on Twitter. He gives really good information about jet streams and Greenland blocks. So it just depends on the development of that next winter into the spring.
And then a newer viewer named Rawless says, cruising through Georgia, lots of storms right now. It's been interesting in the world news, just going through these crazy flash floods that are very in a small area, but sort of scattered all over the place. And they wind up being tragic. I mean, that world news that I covered tonight had a teenage boy, and then there was 2 people in China, and then another woman was swept, all in different locations. I still haven't got anyone to really confirm these microburst storms, but it has a lot to do with cosmic ray flux and all the extra charged particles we have coming into the atmosphere. Jake, what do you think? Are you just distracted?
I'm reading the chat, and one thing that stands out, it says, so we should be enjoying the last days of this late cycle of heat and predictable weather. We are entering a new cycle physically we haven't experienced. Yeah, enjoy it. Don't stop doing what you're doing, folks. Cherish these warm days all you can. I'm not about ready to drop the simple life pleasures. I'm going to cherish every moment I can until we absolutely have to start adapting to the point where, all right, this is what we have to do. I know a lot of people out there might find it silly that I still take time to watch a football game or to watch my kid play baseball, because there's other people out there that believe that we should be out there preparing for this right now, and that's all we should be focused on. And yes and no. You can't go into it like that, unfortunately. Cherish while we have it, is what I'm saying. Live your life to the fullest.
And then lastly, Thor says, tell Jake I saw a story from China that's reporting pork is going way up in price and portions are getting smaller due to feed shortages. I'd like to give a shout out to Maga Cynthia. She's on Twitter as Junk Mistress. She's awesome. I don't know if I've ever given her a shout out on the live shows, but she is a wonderful person. She also shared there's African swine flu in 11 countries: China, Russia, Bulgaria, Slovakia, Myanmar, Moldova, Serbia, Montenegro, Philippines, South Africa, and Ukraine, where there was 100,000 culled. So, and then Matt and Naya commented also about that, saying that they're basically giving quotas per person based on your social number, your rating.
Wow.
I mean, so can you imagine if they did that here in the States, like the social ranking of privilege. I mean, wow.
Right.
That's all I got, Jake.
Thank you very much, Mari. That's going to do it for us tonight, guys. This Monday night edition of Grand Solar Minimum News Update. Be sure to check out our solar updates throughout the week. We'll be back again Wednesday night live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, guys, we will talk soon.